Hi guys, so today's video is really useful. It's about maximizing verbs. So for those of you who are really bored of using the same verbs, this is an absolutely fantastic thing for you to do. So what this is going to entail is finding patterns in the verbs that you kind of know so that you can suddenly go, whoa, I know so many more verbs and I know how to conjugate them. So this is the first grammar video I've done in a while, so this is quite exciting. So the first pattern that we're going to look at, and all of this will be written underneath, the first pattern that we're going to look at is Ation. I don't mean Asian as in China and Japan. I mean Ation as in words that end Ation. So as you know, ION words in French tend to be the same as they are in English. There's a couple of exceptions, like, exhibition will say exposition or something to that effect. Will be traduction, but generally most ION ending words in French and English will be the same, remembering that they will be feminine. So if you can find an ATION ending word, so communication, transportation, extermination, contemplation, examination, this in French will be examination, contemplation, communication, transportation, and then you just need to change in your mouth, transporter, examiner, communiquer, so ation will go to A. So for example, investigation will give me investigation, it will give me the verb investigate. So that's pattern one, okay? Pattern two is all about prefixes, okay? So prefixes are when you're going to add something different to the beginning of the word, the verb you know, and it will give you more verbs. So I don't know if any of you have ever done this, but when you type a verb into wordreference.com, and I will pop the link underneath, if you type a verb into wordreference.com, there's a little blue arrow, okay? And this little blue arrow takes you to the conjugator of the verb. And if you look on the left, it will tell you other verbs that are similar, that are dealt with in the same way, which is a really useful tool. So for example, if I, let me bring one up rather than changing it on here. So actually, can I use this rather than losing live? So if I went to, so if I went to mettre, okay, and if I could bring up mettre, okay, if I look to the left, I've got admettre, commettre, compromettre, décommettre, démettre, émettre, omettre, permettre, promettre, réadmettre, remettre, retransmettre, entreprendre, soumettre, transmettre. So great verbs like admit, omit, promise, commit, readmit, submit, transmit. So if you think about these, a lot of them sound quite English. They definitely sound English. They sound quite similar with the mit business. So you've never thought about using those verbs. So using a prefix is great. Let's do another one. Let's look at prendre verbs, okay? So prendre verbs, okay? If you were to look at prendre verbs, you'd have apprendre, comprendre, reprendre, déprendre. So you've got all those lists of verbs which are going to be conjugated in exactly the same way. And I will pop those lists underneath and what they all roughly mean. They have some kind of different meanings on some occasions, but normally you can work it out. Let's do another one then. So let's say prendre, let's say, what else could we do? Mettre, promettre, commettre, surprendre, comprendre, tenir. So if I went to verbs that ended with an anir, so if I put in venir, and it goes to verbs that work the same. And if I went to verbs that work and look the same, okay, it gives me 30 verbs on the left-hand side. I'll put that link in as well. So if I look at what those words mean, I've got advenir, appartenir, avenir, bienvenir, circonvenir, contenir, contrevenir, etc., 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 working my way down. To befall, let me work this up. To befall, to belong, to come up, bienvenir, to come right, to welcome, circonvenir, to circumvent, to contain, to contravene, to detain, to suit somebody, to become, to maintain, intervene. So there's some really great verbs. So I will pop that up there for you as well. And you will know how to conjugate them all because you know vient, 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 venons, 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 venez, viennent. And you know tiens, 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 tenons, tenez, tiennent. So now you know maintient, 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 maintenant, maintenant, maintenez, maintiennent. je maintenais, maintenez imperfect, maintiendrai, viendrai. They all work in exactly the same way. Okay, so that is the second. So I've got mettre, I've got prendre. We've done the third one is venir, tenir. So another really useful category of verbs to play with is verbs which use ir with on the end of an adjective. So can I make the point that not all of these are the most common, but some of them are ridiculously common? So for example, to go red, rougir. So fat is fat, so gros, grossir. Slim is mince, so mincir. Skinny is maigre, so maigrir. We tend to use skinny as a positive word now, like our skinny latte, but generally skinny used to be a bad word. And in French, it's connected to the word meager. So like meager portions when you eat less. So maigre, maigrir is to get skinny. Blanchir, to go white. Noircir, to go black. Jaunir, to go yellow, where we get jaundice from if a baby is born with jaundice. Okay, so that's a really useful pattern as well, adding ir. Rougir, to go red. So when he saw Luke, he was so embarrassed, he went red. Il a rougi. Okay, great. We've also got another category, okay, where let me just check I've got all the ones I wanted there. Yeah, so we've also got another category where we can start using some specific adjectives in the middle of, or nouns in the middle of verbs that will give us a verb. Now, some of these are a higher register. So for example, if you say you made me sad, then you're going to say you saddened me. So that's fairly neutral. It's possibly a little bit higher in register than to make me sad. So let's look at some of these verbs, and I want you to keep your eye out for them when you're generally working. So for example, éloigner contains the sound loin, so it's to make further away because of loin being far. Ralentir, to slow down, contains lent, slow. S'apprêter, to get yourself ready, contains prêt, prête. Yeah. Aplatir is to make flat, okay? Écœuré, oh, c'est écœurant, it's sickening. Oh gosh, she's so slim, she can eat cake, it's sickening, okay? Because it contains the word heart, and more about the eh later. Chagrin is sorrow, so chagriner, that makes me sad, ça me chagrine. Contenter contains content, ça me contente, okay? So you've got triste, sad, ça m'attriste, that saddens me. So you've got a lot of verbs which come from adjectives, okay, or nouns. And I think that's a really nice way of extending your vocabulary. Keep an eye out for those, okay? What else have we got? We've also got some more prefixes I wanted to talk about. So the obvious, pardon the noise over there from the pipes. So the obvious one is the word re. So I want to make really clear about this. When you use to redo something in French, you are most of the time going to say re, R-E. If it's a word which begins with a vowel, you will often just add an R. So to call, appeler, to recall, rappeler. Often it will just be RE, which will be re. As opposed to DE, which most of the time as the prefix un, to de-do something, to undo something, will be de, because there's an accent on the E. So be careful, it's not re and de, it's re and de. So for example, what have I got? Plaire is to please, so déplaire is to displease. Tendre is to tend, so détendre is to relax. Emballage emballer is to wrap up, so déballage is to kind of unwrap. Défaire, to undo. Bander is to bandage. Also, without being immature, it's a really common French saying for when somebody has an erection, when someone is sexually ready. So be careful that you don't find yourself exposed to people teasing you with that one. So débander is to no longer have an erection, or to unbandage. Okay, so l'infirmière a débandé le patient. So she unbandaged the patient. Déblocage is to get rid of a blockage, so to unblock. So it's kind of like speak English. It's kind of like the prefix dis in English, yeah, or un. Okay. Another great one is faire. There's groups of verbs involving faire. So faire to do. So we've got stupéfaire, to stupefy, satisfaire, to satisfy. Yeah, so anything you would do with faire, you would, in terms of conjugation, you would do with satisfaire. So je faisais, I was doing, je satisfaisais. Yeah. Anything going in the ferait, fera, fera. You can conjugate these verbs instantly. You just need to know the prefix. So let's just type in faire into our conjugator, see what other verbs come up. Okay. So yeah, we've got contrefaire, défaire, forfaire, malfaire, to do something bad. Parfaire, great verb, to make perfect. Refaire, satisfaire, stupéfaire. Okay, so you've got a lot of really great verbs, all of which you can conjugate because you know faire. Okay. Carrying on then. So if we went to the prefix e, okay, the prefix e. As a general rule, is a bit of an odd one, but it's really useful. It's to kind of remove or kind of open. So, for example, éventré is to kind of remove, slit open the stomach. Égorgé is to do the same thing to the throat. Écorné is to remove the horns, yeah, or the corners. Écervelé is to kind of remove the brains. So if someone's écervelé, they're brainless. Ébarbé is to kind of remove the beard or to trim. So this é is taking me in the idea of removing something. So that's quite a good one to have as well. Okay. Side note, two really great verbs. The word, going back to looking at adjectives in verbs, if we've got the word clair, clear or light, okay, there's two different verbs. Éclaircir, yeah, which is to kind of think of taking something away. So you're either going to make a color lighter or you're clearing out. So say, for example, my grandmother was weeding the garden. She's clearing out, you know, bits of junk and weed and what have you. That would be making it clearer. So that'd be éclaircir, as opposed to the verb éclairer, which is to think of adding something, think of adding light. You are shining a light on something. Yeah, like les éclairs, like lightning. Okay. So éclaircir and éclairer. Okay. Great. There we go. That's it. Made sure I've got all of those in. Bring it up. There you go. So basically, this is what I want you guys to do. I want you to have a look at words that you know, type them into word reference, okay? And it will say on the left other verbs that are conjugated in the same way, okay? And you instantly see for yourself if you can then find one of those verbs in your mouth. So using all your normal pronunciation methods, find what you know how to do. Likewise, when you're listening, if you hear a verb and you think, right, something mettre, you know, mettez, same rule, mettre, same rule. Something prendre, you know the rule for prendre, it's going to take a nut. Anything else that takes prendre, okay? What I'm going to do, because the most interesting to me category out of all of these is the verbs that are born from another adjective. So I'm going to keep adding to that list in the list underneath. So when you watch this video and you look underneath, that section is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, because I just think it's a really fun thing. Okay, it's also great for exams because they tend to be high register verbs. Okay, so any of you that want any tuition, I've had some lovely emails recently, comments about the exam preparation videos. I am busy because obviously, particularly in the UK, it's oral exam time. It's coming up to written exam time. Do please email me, logiclanguagelearning@gmail.com. Can I remind you, I sell a vocab podcast with basically 4 hours of vocabulary, which is recommended by all the exam boards, and that is on offer for the discount price of £25 UK for those of you who are signed up here. Can I remind you, I also have a WhatsApp phone check service. So if you basically, for a small fee, I will check all of your French for you orally, or I will send it back written correctly for you. And that is basically like having a Luke app. It's like having a Logic Language Learning app, which is not a bad idea. Okay, guys, I will speak to you soon. Do please keep an eye out underneath for these words. They will be written there, and I will be in touch very soon. Lovely to talk to you all again. Take care.